I'm David, I'm the minister here at Glen Innes Anglican Church, and this is a short video to update you on what's going on with COVID. And particularly what we can announce as of today is that last night, as I'm recording this, which was Wednesday night, I received the email that said we can now officially open. And so we're doing that on the 21st of June. However, we need to do that within certain restrictions. And so the point of this video is just to give you a little bit of an idea about what it is that church will look like over the coming weeks. And particularly to let you know some of the really big things that will impact us as we gather together. Now, there are letters coming out if you're on our church roll, whether by email or by your postal address. Right now, there are some wonderful people writing down on envelopes and getting those addressed and stamped and ready to go. I want to thank them for doing that. And hopefully that letter will arrive, I guess, sometime mid next week or late next week, but we don't know what the Postal Service is going to do. So that'll outline a few of the details. This video will outline some of the details. There'll be stuff posted online, all kinds of stuff that will allow you to get an idea. But the big things we need to point out are just a few big ones. First of all, while we're returning to normal, there are regulations. Actually the government needed a bit of convincing that we could open. And thankfully our bishops in New South Wales have worked well with the government and have negotiated how we can do that safely. And so we need to honour the work that they've done and that what the government has allowed. And we need to do the best that we can to ensure we minimise every risk of infection. Now, most of that is in a plan that I'm happy to show anyone who needs to see it, that we've submitted to the diocese. That will give us the big details of it. And you don't need to worry though about that, because Parish Council is getting on top of it and they're assembling the team of people who will do all those little jobs. And it's going to be many hands making light work, and we're grateful that people are willing to do that. But first of all, 50 people is our limit. And we need to be clear, 50 people is the number of people on the grounds at any one time. We can't get to 50 people in the church building and then put speakers outside and let others sit in the hall or on the deck or on the grass and actually have 80 people. Unfortunately, 50 people is the limit on the whole of the grounds. And so we actually, that obviously has implications for us, because our services get up towards that number often. And in particular, 7:30 averages about that number. So in order to not turn anyone away, which is what we have to do if we get to 50, we have to stop letting people in. In order to hopefully not do that, we're actually putting on an extra service. Because services will be truncated because of other restrictions that are on us, we've actually got the kind of flexibility to do that. And we're going to do a 7:30, an 8:30 and a 9:30 service on Sunday, as well as our 9:30 Wednesday and our Dundee services on the 2nd and 4th Sundays of each month. Now, within that, the reason for that 8:30 service is, if you're someone who goes to particularly 7:30 but 9:30 as well, that 8:30 service, the idea is please consider whether you're able to come along to that service at least temporarily, or maybe to Wednesday, because what we don't want is to get to 50 and then for someone who's been watching our videos, who wants to explore Christianity, maybe come and join the church, who's not been a regular part of our members, our church family, we don't want to turn those people away. And so I'm appealing to particularly our regulars to just be a little self-sacrificial and think through how we can best do that. Now, that might mean, for instance, if you're a 7:30 regular, come along at 7:30, wait in the car, find out, you might find out that the number is getting towards 50, and you just think, well, okay, I'll go get a coffee and then come back for 8:30. Obviously we can't all go at 8:30, or we've just shifted the potential problem. But we really hope that in love for others, we're going to be able to work this out. Now, I know there'll be teething problems on the way. It's going to be tricky. There's no really a good way to do this. We're not going to take registrations or anything before, which service would you like to come to? We can't do that. So I'm just asking, please be patient with myself, with the parish council, with those who are welcoming. It's, we have laws that we have to deal with and we have to comply with. We're doing our best even though we're walking into the dark. But hopefully what's going to happen over the first couple of Sundays is that we'll quickly figure out the patterns and the rhythms, and all of us together will sort of get into a new pattern that we're able to share. Now, within that, as you come into the church building, we're also going to need to register. Now, I know this is one of those things where people go, I don't want to give my details out and all that, and I understand that. Unfortunately, it's a government requirement, and the reason is very simple and actually very sensible. If someone was to come to church on Sunday and then go home, and Monday they get a sniffle, Thursday they go to the doctor and get the swab and find out they've got a coronavirus. They find out they've got the case. What the government wants to be able to do is contact everyone who was in church with them. The same is true in restaurants, in the hospital. All of that is going to happen almost anywhere where there's big gatherings. You're going to have to do this. Now, in terms of then we take those details, what happens with them is they'll be absolutely private. They're not going to be used for anything at all except for two things. One is that if someone does have the positive case, obviously the government, New South Wales Health, will want to take those and call the people up who need to be called. And the other thing is, after 28 days, I'll have it, I'll store it away in a safe spot, and after 28 days, we're allowed to get rid of them, and so they'll be used to warm my house. I'll throw them in the fire, they'll be destroyed, or I'll shred them, or whatever it is, and they are not going to be used for anything else by us or by anyone else. We won't, we're not required, and we won't hand them over for any other reason, other than if there's a positive test. So, although that's a little invasive, we ask you to bear with us. More broadly, look, I won't go into all the detail, but as you come to the church, there's signage around to help you understand what we've got to do, in terms of social distancing, in terms of passing things around, which we can't do. We can't sing, we can't share food. There's all kinds of things that we are unable to do. Now, the easiest way to deal with that is just please come, listen to the guys that are on the door, the parish council reps who are going to guide you through it, and please just help them to get all of this right. We're going to do our best to make sure that even within the changes, church still has all those things that are so wonderful about the way we normally do church and the way that we normally praise God together. There's lots that we can do. I don't want to sound negative. So it's going to be a really wonderful time, I trust, of actually learning and growing together as we have to work through some of these issues. But again, we're asking for patience as we go through all of that. As you leave, the other thing that's worth mentioning is that we're going to enter through the front but exit through the side doors, and there's reasons for that in terms of trying to control the flow of people and not cross over. We're not able to gather on the church grounds, because if 30 people try to gather on the church grounds and catch up, which I love when that happens, and then 40 people show up for the next service, you can see there's a problem there. We've legally breached the regulations and leave ourselves open in trouble. So instead, what we're encouraging you to do is keep fellowshipping. We want to have that more informal time of gathering. We know that is super important, and it's a really great blessing to many of you. So do it, but here's what you need to do. Maybe bake a cake on Saturday night, invite someone at church to come back to your house for a cuppa. Invite them out to the cafe afterwards. Do something that gets you meeting with other Christians. It's such an important thing for us, and I know we're missing it. It's just, unfortunately for now, we can't facilitate that on our grounds. Now, a video like this is a bit scattergunned. There's lots of issues I haven't covered. There's lots of things we can do, lots of things we can't do, and I've probably raised questions. There's two things you can do with that. Well, three actually. One is, please be patient, as I've said a few times. We're wandering into the dark. We're kind of making this up as we go, because the information as it comes to us, we're dealing with it as it comes, and there's not much else we can do. So we're going to have to iron out the wrinkles as we go. So we're asking for patience. The second thing is, if there's huge questions, by all means, give me a call. I'm happy to try and work you through those if I can. I probably can't answer every question, but we'll do our best to do that and explain some of the reasons that we have to do things the way that we're doing. I'm happy to try and do that. But the biggest thing, can I say, is that as we gather, I know that there's many people who've interacted with our videos who aren't a normal part of our church family. Now that has given me incredible joy to see the way that you've joined us and to hear the fact that that's been a positive for you. We're so glad it's been great for you. We'd love to see you come to church, whether you've, never come near a service or whether you've just let things slip in recent years. Wherever you are on the spectrum, we'd love to have you with us. And no doubt what I've noticed is I think there are more people asking questions about big questions of faith than what we're often led to believe. If you listen to the news, you'd think that everyone's turning away from belief in everything. But actually, no, there's still a hunger for Christian things, to know Jesus, to work out the big questions in life. And especially at a time when we've realised the fragility of so much that we hold dear. Can I say that if you're watching this, and particularly if you're a regular member of our church, you know people who are asking questions more than you realise. We're going to make sure that church, in the coming weeks in particular, is as accessible and as possible, and we're going to hit those basic questions. Now is a great time, while people are asking these questions, to invite them along. Be bold, be concerned for them enough, be loving enough for them in an eternal sense and their relationship with God. Care about that enough that you invite them. Because we would love to see people with us. Finally, some people are not going to want to come to church because of gatherings. I understand that. We need to be careful. Now, because that's the case, these videos are going to continue on. They're not going anywhere. They might change a little bit, but our church services are going to continue. They're going to be there every Sunday, God willing. And that is still a way you can engage with us. And so if what you've heard is you're sitting there going, I can't make it yet, this is not going to help me, look, please continue to engage with the services online. They'll follow the same thing, all the same readings and teachings and whatnot are going on down there, so you'll be up to date with us. And then we'd love to embrace you and have you back with us as soon as you are in a position to be able to do that. Look, that's a lot of information. It's really off the top of my head, scattergun, so please do get in touch if you have any questions. Until Sunday week, until the 21st, God bless. We hope you'll see it. We'll see you online, and we hope so much that we'll see you back in person.